Hello and welcome to Manchester United, the D in its view. Unfortunately, I'm recording this a day after our first defeat of the Ruben Amorim era. And what is there better place to start than the fact that, it wasn't an unexpected result, I suppose. Like where what is this? The fourth game into the Ruben Amorim era, and this is by far the best team we've played. Obviously, we started with Ipswich Town, which was a draw, Bodo Glimt, which was a win at Old Trafford. And then obviously we had the 4-0 thumping of Everton at home at Old Trafford. And then obviously we've gone to the Emirates, and Arsenal, let's be honest, they are definitely a class above the teams we've played previously. So I think it was to be expected. I think there was a few reasons to delve into as to why we got the result we got as well. I suppose the disappointing thing from my perspective is that I didn't really quite understand the lineup. And look, Ruben Amorim's been very quick to stress, the fitness of the players and the limits risk. He actually put a limit of minutes on all these players that started. So Harry Maguire, Malacia, Mount, and then he put Lenny Yoro on in the second half as well. He said they were all limited minutes. Sorry. My bad. I've had allergies all overnight, so hopefully this doesn't sound too bad or come across too bad. But look, I think that played a part, and I think the general fitness and the fact that we made so many changes again from the weekend to now, and I think that's probably what's let United down in this game. And I think the next time we go to what do you call it? To the Emirates. Obviously, we're going there. We've just been drawn with Arsenal again in the Emirates FA Cup third round. So hopefully, with some luck, we're going to go there the second time round, put in a better performance, and hopefully get a win, or at least try and get a win or something. So look, it's going to be one of them weird ones. We're just going to have to wait and hope for the best, and it's just going to be. I think we're definitely going to see it's going to be a work in progress for a significant amount of time still to come. And that was definitely on display in terms of the weekend. So look, let's talk about the changes that were made. So obviously, and we'll start with this, Luke Shaw released a statement a day before the game, and he's injured again. And he said hopefully it's a small setback and he could be out for a couple of weeks. But Luke Shaw and setbacks generally go hand in hand with being out for quite a substantial period of time. So I'm not holding my breath that he's going to be back anytime soon. And look, it was very unhelpful that Lisandro Martinez picked up that booking and was suspended for this game, and then Luke Shaw got injured, because it meant then that Harry Maguire came into the team. And obviously, I'm pretty confident that Ruben Amorim read it exactly like me. He did not want Harry Maguire on the left-hand side of the centre-backs up against Bakary Saka. With the form that Bakary Saka's been in since Martin Odegaard's come back into the team, it didn't look like a very good idea, and thankfully that's not what we saw. So Harry Maguire actually went into the centre, the centre of the centre-backs. Mazraoui swapped sides to left centre-back, and look, he was fine there. I think this just shows how versatile Mazraoui is. I can't recall a player that looks so comfortable in any one of those defensive positions. He's absolutely brilliant. Every game he plays, the more he plays, the more I think, how the hell did Bayern let this guy go for 12 mil? It's just unbelievable. He's on track to be signing of the season, no doubt about that at all. And then De Ligt obviously swapped to the right centre-back position, and he looked all right there. I had no qualms with that. So Tyrell Malacia actually came in as the left wing back, and Diego Dalot swapped over to the right-hand side, and he started as right wing back, which meant that Ahmad dropped to the bench. And I didn't quite understand that decision, because I feel like Ahmad looks like he's a player that's capable of playing 90 minutes. A bit like Bruno Fernandes. I can't see why he wasn't playing the 90 minutes. I feel like he could back it up. And I'm intrigued to know. I'll be intrigued to know whether... Well, I would expect the fact that Ahmad came on at halftime would suggest that, he's probably going to be nailed on. I just think that there were some players that I thought, was it really a smart decision to like not play them? Like, I'm sure that they're capable of actually putting it in. So, look, so we had Malacia obviously starting. And Malacia, in fairness, against Bodo Glimt, I thought Malacia was really poor. In this game, he actually blanketed Saka pretty well on the left-hand side, the right-hand side for Arsenal's attack. I didn't think there was much wrong with him at all. So, look, we then had Bruno Fernandes dropping deeper because obviously Kobbie Mainoo was suspended for this game as well. And I'm not sure if this played a part in the formation that we saw. But I just, like Bruno Fernandes, he tries to get the ball going forward. But I think that's the reason why Ruben van Nistelrooy moved him closer to the number 10 position where he is most dangerous. And that's because of the fact that that's where he does most of his good work. Like, closer to goal. He's such a chance creator. He's a shot creator. And I feel like him playing deeper in the midfield just doesn't aid United moving forward. I think he's got to be closer to goal. I mean, I could be slightly biased because of the fact he's in my FPL team. And sitting deeper means he's less likely to get me points. I just thought that was, I don't know. I feel like that potentially he could have put someone else there, but we saw it the entire game that he didn't swap that up at all. Manuel Ugarte started here, which is not a surprise considering he didn't start on the weekend. And I suppose the question there is, surely he's got to be close to being able to play 90 minutes every week, because when he's not there, as we saw with Casemiro in the Everton game, we definitely don't have the same amount of energy as what we would do with him in the team. And I think the quicker we can get him up to being able to play 90 minutes every week, or every game, the better off this United team's going to be. Now, I understand that there's a lot of games and he wants to keep everyone as fresh and injury-free as possible. I've already seen Luke Shaw go down. But I think moving forward, that's definitely something that has to be... Some players have to play every game. Like De Ligt and Mazraoui have been. So is Onana, obviously. He's a goalkeeper. It makes sense. But I just think that that's something that definitely has to be worked on. Then, obviously, the entire front three was changed. So, against Everton, we had Joshua Zirkzee, Marcus Rashford, and Bruno Fernandes. So, Bruno Fernandes is still in the team. But it seems to be like when Mason Mount is fit and can play, we end up with Bruno deeper. I'm not sure if I would like to see Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, and then Rasmus Højlund, Marcus Rashford, Joshua Zirkzee there. I'm not sure. I just thought it was weird that the front three played so well the other day against Everton. We didn't see any of them in this game in the front three. It just seemed like, considering how well they played, and the three that came in just looked disjointed the entire time they were out there, didn't really offer anything. I don't even think Rasmus Højlund or Alejandro Garnacho had a shot against Arsenal. Like, we didn't have many shots in general. We only had 5 shots for the game. I'm pretty confident neither of them had a shot. Mason Mount was good out of the ball, but he was the player that touched the ball the least on the field that started the game. So again, I said at the start of the season that Mason Mount, he's so good out of possession, but does he do enough when we've got the ball? I'm not sure. So look, that was disappointing. Obviously, he made some changes in the second half. It was 0-0 at half time, and I thought, we're on track here could be on track here for a famous point. All things considered, I would have taken a point, hands down. I suppose the good thing is that, Arsenal did end up having 14 shots compared to our 5. But most of their shots were from set pieces. I mean, we kept on giving away needless corners, which was killing us. Absolutely killing us. And that in itself was disappointing. I mean, when you play Arsenal, they're good at set pieces. Gabriel was probably the most threatening defender in the Premier League because of the fact that their corners are that good. Like Saka and Rice's delivery from corners is top tier. I don't know how much time they spend on the training ground practicing the delivery of their corners, but it's got to be a fair amount of time spent, I would suggest. And I think that's probably what we need to do. Because, I mean, like, when I look at our defenders, I'm like going, especially with Harry Maguire starting. Harry Maguire used to boss for England during that World Cup. Like, it was so dominant in the air. Like, why can't we practice delivering the ball in like Arsenal do and making the most of corners? It's definitely something I think Ruben Amorim needs to look at, because the teams that are good at set pieces, it's just free goals. If you know how to deliver the ball into the box, and that's Arsenal. Both of Arsenal's goals came from the same thing, and I'm not convinced by the defending that we saw for either of those goals. I mean, we sat there, we watched, and United seemed to employ this zonal marking, and then Onana just sort of was like rooted to his line every single time. I feel like Onana had to be a bit more active, get off the line and try and get these balls, because they weren't like miles away from where he was standing. It's just they were whipped that quick. He couldn't do anything about it. And look, Arsenal, you could say, were probably unlucky not to get a third from this. Like they were that almost every time they had a corner, it looked like they were going to score. It was insane. It just reminded me of like Rory Delap or Liam Delap for Tony Pulis at Stoke City. Like every time he threw the ball in, you thought they were a chance of scoring a goal. That's what it felt like watching Arsenal take corners in this game. It was mad. Absolutely mad. So look, there was 14 shots to 5, 6 on target for Arsenal, 2 for us. So, I mean, I suppose our shot percentage on target was pretty good for this game, 40%. But Arsenal's is about the same. Total passes, very similar, 463 to 476. So we shaded that and we made 9 more completed passes, 412 to 403. Possession was 50-50. So look, it's not like we got completely outplayed, but Arsenal just more clinical. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like with the players that started this game, I think if you make that many changes from game to game, and you're starting, I'd say that the front 3 that started this game are arguably weaker than the front 3 that started the Everton game. I just don't know why you wouldn't swap it the other way around, so you had the other 3 playing against the better team rather than the lesser team. I don't know. It's a small criticism, but I just don't understand it. I didn't quite understand the lineup when I saw it. I think that's just something that, floated with me. Obviously, Arsenal won more aerial duels as well. I mean, it was interesting. Even without Gabriel, they were just dominant. Both their Julian Timber scored, and so did William Saliba. So, I don't know. It wasn't like it was the worst performance or whatever. It just there was a lot to work on, and I think Ruben Amorim will take that. But he admitted as such that set pieces changed the game, and they did. It was just those corners are just unbelievable. They're just unbelievably good, and I think when we go there in the Emirates FA Cup in early January, I dare say that we're not going to see us defend as poorly as we defended in this game, if that makes sense. I just don't think that that's going to happen. But we'll see. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But, yeah, I just think that we're not likely to see that. So, touch wood, we don't. So, Delete also said after the game we still need to improve. And, yes, there's plenty of improvement that needs to still happen. And Ruben Amorim also came out and said that, he is actively managing players' loads. He doesn't want to overdo them. He doesn't want to work them into the ground. He's already admitted that the squad isn't fit enough to what his demands are. So I suppose it makes sense. I feel like if this is Erik ten Hag, maybe that's why we had so many injuries last season. It's like he just kept working, and they just kept breaking down. Maybe this is a smart, sensible way, and we're going to get some, poor results because of it. It's disappointing. It drops us back into the second half of the table. But look, against Nottingham Forrest, they got easily swatted aside by Manchester City. I expect us to bounce back at Old Trafford on the weekend and get a result. I'll be very disappointed, very shocked if we didn't get a result. So hopefully, touch wood, we do. And we have an instant bounce back. Definitely can't afford for a couple of negative results in a row. Because obviously after the weekend, we've got Tottenham in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals, and that's away at the Hotspur Stadium. And then obviously we've got Manchester City away following that. And the problem is that our away record has still not improved, which is disappointing. So I'm not really too sure what we need to be doing, but we just need to be getting better in general. So I don't know. It's just one of them weird things where, we've got to actually work out how we're going to get goals away from home, results away from home. Because look, if we look at our results this season away from home, I don't think we've actually won a game. No, other than Southampton, we haven't won a game away from home this season, which just isn't good enough. Like, the record dates well back into Eric Ten Hag's time, but I just don't know what we do with that. We've definitely got to get better, that's for sure, at getting results away from home. So that's going to be definitely on Ruben Amorim to try and turn that around, because for far too long under Eric Ten Hag, we just haven't got results away from home, and that's definitely going to be a problem moving forward. So look, hopefully we start seeing that, but let's focus on the weekend. Nottingham Forrest, they have to be accounted for. We have to make sure we're getting a positive result here. We need to make sure we're getting a win. Nottingham Forest are above us as well. Let's not pretend that they're a bad team. They've been a pretty damn good team this season defensively, and it is going to take us playing well in order to make sure we do get some sort of result on the weekend. Look, they're the only team that have beaten Liverpool, and that was at Anfield. So, yeah, definitely someone we need to keep in mind. Now, Lenny Yoro made his debut, long-awaited debut. He came on in the second half for Harry Maguire. Again, the two players limited by their minutes. He looked fine. He looked pretty comfortable. He looks quick. I think the quicker he's fit and can play the full 90, I think he'll be starting. Let's just put it that way. He looks pretty classy. I mean, it was a very small snippet. We only got him for 30 minutes or so. But I dare say that moving forward, I think that he's going to be good. Now, obviously, one thing that we easily see from the first few games is that Ruben Amorim likes to make early subs. So we made our first lot of subs again before 59 minutes. So before the 60-minute mark. We made a triple change then. And then obviously he made the one at halftime as well, 45. Anthony also came on in the second half. So the players that came on were Xerxes, Anthony, Amad Diallo, Rashford, and Yoro. So I think the problem was that it was all just a bit too much change. There wasn't enough cohesion in the game, and I think potentially that's something that he'll look to do, look to change moving forward. So, look, we'll move on from that. We'll put a line through it. There's definitely more things to be working on. That is for sure. And look, he does see potential. Obviously, this is what he said in regards to Lenny Yoro. Sorry. So, of course, Lenny Yoro, you can feel the talent, Amorim said. The speed, the way he handled 1-against-1 in a very difficult stadium, after a lot of time without playing, you can see the quality. So, and also, Godwill Kukonki was named in the matchday squad for the first time. So, this guy is 16 years old, from the academy. He's a defender, and he's been promoted by Amorim after training with the senior squad at Carrington. With Lissandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, Johnny Evans and Victor Lindelof unavailable, he will have been thrilled to get the opportunity. He's 16, said Amorim, but he impressed me a lot, so it's also a sign to the youth players that they can be here. If something happened with the first team squad, they have to step up, and I think he's ready. He's very adult to handle the demands of the Premier League. So there you go. I didn't actually know who that guy was, but now if you're wondering who that guy was, that's where he's from, 16 years old. He obviously Amorim must have seen something in him that maybe thinks that he's going to be fast-tracked into the first team. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah. So, look, I think that when we go back to Arsenal, it will be a fairer time to assess how we're going in terms of the build under Ruben Amorim, because he has still... The problem with the way he came in, and he only really got the training in the second week of that international break, and the squad was still coming back in dribs and drabs. He's still working from a position where the players really don't know what he wants them to do. He's having to teach them, walk them through. He's also having to deal with recovery because we're literally playing every 3 or 4 days. It is difficult for him. It would be much easier if he'd obviously come in at the start of the season, but we're just going to have to wait and hope that, he can do as much as he can in the time that he's got on the training ground from game to game. Yeah. So look, he's gonna have to try and figure it around. We've obviously got these difficult games. We've been drawn away in the cups for both the League Cup and the FA Cup, and we're actually going to have to pull out some performances. But look, we did last year. There's no reason why we can't, but I just think that's something that we need to try and iron out moving forward, that's for sure. So yeah, obviously Nottingham Forest, as I said, they travel to Old Trafford on Saturday. So yeah, we're just going to have to hope that the boys are ready. And it starts at 4:25, but the game is at 5:30, so it's the late kickoff on on Sky Sports in the UK. So look, that's annoying because it's 1:30 a.m. over here in Australia. So look, it's going to be a rough watch, that one. Let's be honest. And then look, we've got some sad news, and this has to be dealt with as well. So Kath Phipps, unfortunately, she has passed away she passed away yesterday. So I'm just going to read out what the club has said on this. We are deeply saddened to announce the passing of our beloved colleague Kath Phipps at the age of 85. An omnipresent figure at Manchester United since the late 1960s, Kath worked for the club for over 55 years in a variety of roles, but her contribution went beyond any particular job title. A childhood United fan from Earlham, Kath became the Reds' switchboard operator in September 1968. Shortly after the Reds' first European Cup success, and was soon forging friendships with Sir Matt Busby, Jimmy Murphy, and United's star-studded squad, spending countless hours with Ballon d'Or winners George Best, Bobby Charlton, and Dennis Law as they signed autographs to send to their fans. Having become a key member of the club's office staff in the ensuing years, Kath later became a matchday fixture at Old Trafford director's entrance and took on the role of training ground receptionist, ensuring that any visitor to Carrington was greeted by the cheeriest of welcomes. For regulars, that greeting would extend to warm hugs and friendly chats as Kath became to embody the familiarly atmosphere underpinning the club's culture. If Kath ever had a bad day, she never brought it to work. Her positive attitude helped set the mood for everyone entering the training ground, always ready to lend an ear and offer words of encouragement to anyone who needed them, be they megastar footballers, casual staff, or occasional visitors. I don't think I've ever had one cross-word with anybody in all the years I've been here, she said in a 2023 interview, marking her 55th anniversary at the club. I look forward to coming in and having a smile on my face every day, wishing people good morning. I just enjoy being here. Not everybody can say they enjoy going to work, but I do. Football has been my life. Kath's contribution to the cause was always recognised by those around her. When her husband Richard passed away, Sir Alex Ferguson took his squad along to the funeral to pay their respects and stand in solidarity with Kath as she grieved. During 2020's mid-pandemic lockdown, she was visited at home by players and staff members who wanted to ensure she had company. In 2022, she was recognised by the League Managers Association with a Service to Football Award, prompting public tributes from David Beckham, Gary Neville and others who appreciated her role in their careers and in the day-to-day workings of the club. Kath was a one-woman institution whose memory will be cherished by everyone at the club who had the privilege of knowing her. She said last year, "I can't imagine doing anything else." Well, we can't imagine the place without her. Rest in peace, Kath. So, yeah, some sad news there to obviously that's impacted the club. She's just part of the furniture, really. And when people like that do pass on and rest in peace, it's a time to reflect. And football is that. Football is people's lives. And obviously, if you're listening to this and Manchester United is a very big part of my life. And I get up, I spend a lot of time devoted to watching, to listening, to reading, to supporting. So I think it's just a nice moment to take. Like, look, sometimes the club isn't performing the way we want it to perform, but it's still giving us what we've always wanted, and that is like a sense of belonging, a sense of family. And it's definitely something I'm looking forward to. I'm back in the UK on the 16th of December. I'm back at Old Trafford on the 22nd for the Bournemouth game and the 30th for the Newcastle game. And I can't wait to be back with my Old Trafford family. Take me home, United Road. So look, on that note, a disappointing performance, but when things like that happen, you've got to put it into perspective. And hopefully the boys can regroup and we can get a win in her honour on Saturday afternoon against Nottingham Forrest at Old Trafford. Thanks for listening. Make sure you like the video and subscribe if you're new. That's been the D Unit.